Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the presentation. I'm very happy that you came to listen, to share experience with our two guests about digitalization and crowd safety and how can we make festivals and events better place by using digital technologies. Today we'll be speaking mostly about the situation, what was the past experience, what was the trends last year and what's going to be coming in the New Year's. And for this nice time here, we invited three guests that are very happy that accepted our invitation and come to speak with us. So let me welcome them. I'll start with the one that is the furthest country here. It's all the way from Finland, Ville Ketonen. Give him a applause.
Hello.
Ville is a certified event manager, almost 2 decades in the business. He's the CEO of Localcrew Finland, so company that is a major player on the Finnish market, also pioneering many technologies and use of technology on the Finnish market. And Ville is also a pet shop guy and pet shop store. So this is his little small passion. I'm very happy that he came here because he has many experiences in event business for those years. Having been responsible for Lahti Nordic Ski World Championship, Hockey World Championship, representation of Finland, Live Nation concerts, all of those. So yeah, this is experience and I'm very happy he's here to talk about it. Coming to Martin, all the way from Slovakia, our country, we come from as a company as well. So Martin is certified event manager, also currently crowd safety manager. Also, currently the most quoted person in Slovakia about event safety. So whenever there is something going on in Slovakia, media always approach Martin and ask him about the opinion, about the procedures, what could go better. He has certificate for this and he's been standing by many events, big events, even Slovak national demonstrations in October in Slovakia. So welcome Martin, please.
Thank you. I would just add that it's not so difficult to be the best in the country when you are the only one, so just don't expect a lot from me.
I'm coming to our neighbor country, Michael Struber, all the way from Electric Love Festival. Electric Love Festival is wonderful event in the alpine scenery of the area close to Salzburg. In Austria, yeah, this is important, no, but of course, in Austria. This festival started 6 years ago. That's your microphone?
Yes,
Yes,
2013.
2013, yeah. And the guys at Electric Love did a wonderful job during those years, raising the standards of festivals in Austria very high. The bar is high, and during the Electric Love, there is many people coming to see how the safety procedures are done there. They have a wonderful control room, which Michael and his team was responsible to employ. And these days the control room is highly working part of all processes, I would say, of the festival. So please welcome Michael from Austria.
Thank you.
So I'll come to the point straight away, so we can get to the point. Ville, 2 decades in the business, you've seen so many things. So many things have changed for the time. So, how would you describe the change over the last 5 years and maybe your approach to crowd management? What's different in how you do the stuff compared to those old days?
It has changed a lot, and opportunities are huge nowadays. There are so much new things you could try and test, and I think one of the biggest challenges is to find out what you get into, which are the devices and new systems that you really should try, and which ones are the ones that you shouldn't put any money on them, or you should wait a few more years to see where they are going. And it's very interesting to see what's going on in this market. And as we know, the event side, at least I think so, the event side is sometimes it can be a test ground for new companies or new technologies and ideas, but many times it is it's in a zone where many systems, many new things would be good, but they are way too expensive there. And well, maybe about that a little bit more later, but I think we found in Finland a way to get our hands into those more expensive stuff as well. That's because many companies that develop these things can nowadays see huge crowded events as a place to test their systems and to see how they really work, and also to get reference from them in a way they can't use if they do that same thing with governments, military authorities. Why not that willing to share the reference that's not from there? But yes, I think new systems, they bring a lot of possibilities, and it's all up to us how we use them.
Do you feel the technology makes your work easier or more complicated?
It depends if it works.
Good point. Martin, you are currently having portable control room technology, providing it for many festivals within the country. It's quite new project, it's quite new activity, despite the fact that you've been in the event market for a long time. So I assume you believe in technology and you believe in the systems and you see this coming. So what was your motivation, and how would you describe the technology change the technology made to the way you approach your events and maybe your attitude?
It definitely definitely makes your work easier, and you when talking about the mobile control solution we are offering, or we are supplying to the Slovakia events, it just makes you sit, or makes the safety manager sit in one place and have an overview of the whole festival, whole event. Or when talking about the big anti-government demonstrations, which we had last year in Slovakia, you have one point from which you can observe all the tens of thousands of people, and you can supply really good, useful data and information also to the police, which in this case are your partner. And this needs to be said that actually we as a private industry dealing with the event safety and security, we are in Slovakia, we are the ones which tells the police how the technology is important and shows them how it can help them and so on.
We'll get back to this during the comparison. I'm happy that you're opening up the point. We'll come into this later on definitely, and we will compare the situation.
But when talking about the technology and improvements, we in the PSNS company, we are never satisfied with the level of technology we already have, because as soon as we get the newest ones, the newest cameras or CCTV cameras or some radio communication or anything, in a few weeks or a few months, another better cameras or better solutions occur on the market. So it's the sign of that the industry, the safety technology industry is still improving, still developing, and still offers us new solutions and new opportunities to have in our companies.
Thank you. Michael, this is a very nice move over to your control room, because you've invested a lot of effort and money and time to build a wonderful control room system. It's not about safety at the Electrical Festival, but also about having all the procedures being pulled to this room, making decisions there, and then spreading around. And you were the guy, together with your team, who were responsible for doing this. So tell us maybe the background, how it started, What was the point when you decided that we might need this and this is going to help us?
Yeah, as mentioned before, our festival started 2013, and we have been a small crew with, to be honest, not really clue to how to organize a festival. 2014 then we had was my first step in the safety part. I made a security plan. It was the first step, and then we have a decision that we need something because there were so many problems and we haven't got the overview to organize all the problems and to solve them. So also not a big chaos, but a bit chaotic, to be honest. And in 2015 we invited the event control center. It means we have our own room where all the problems are coming to us, and then we go give the problems to our different departments, like electricity department or kinds of that, and they solve the problem. They give us the feedback, and then we can give the feedback to the others that the problem is solved. And so we have the overwatch of the model festival problems, and we are always in the same way.
Perfect. So I assume it really helps your procedure to the festival, so we can conclude the technology is on the right spot here.
That's right. Without the technology, it would be not that easy to manage it, because we have in total 24 cameras, a lot of weather stations that we always have the overview about the weather, and own meteorologists. We have to put AMENA screens also there. And without this technology, it wouldn't be possible to handle with such a small crew all the problems.
Thank you. So we know, or we can conclude the technology is here, it's coming. It's many different countries, even from the most developed to the middle up developed, catching up countries, trying to now bring those technologies up in front. The question is, where does this lead us? What's coming and what should be the next step? CCTVs are more or less standard these days. We have many thermal cameras in the control rooms. We see metro stations. We see crowd management system, digital signage systems, so all of those. So the question is, what's coming and what would you, as a specialist in the field, might appreciate to be seen in control rooms, maybe in the control room on the year 2025? Ville?
I have two different approaches to your question. I'll start with the one that is not that obvious. I think it's money. When talking about events, the demands because of what's happening in the world nowadays is that more and more money is needed to make our events safer. That's how I feel it. There is authorities online asking more and more, you should have this and that. And technology that is flexible enough to give us the benefits of new technology, but still are something that we can use, we can buy using these events without losing manpower, because I think that is very important. We can't let the festivals go without real security personnel. We still need it, and it's quite expensive too. So I think that is one balance that should be found, and those technologies that can combine different kind of systems and make it more affordable. I think that's one approach. And then of course for the future things that will come, and they are here already, is facial recognition for sure. I think that's the next bigger thing. So our way to the big brother world is.
Actually, I will go briefly through these photos. There is one article that I'm happy that you said, because Carlos Moreno from Security and Mobility of FIRA Barcelona just posted a nice article where he said, or listed the current trends, and this one was important. Taylor Swift had used a facial recognition system to detect stalkers identified in one of her concerts. So it's coming already. Is it coming to Finland soon?
I'm sure it is, but no one has really tried it yet in an event, so it's a bit of a question mark on legal side how to use it. And But yeah, I think that's a problem. Actually, the first time I just saw anything with facial recognition, it was in Slovakia when I was there in 2011, seeing how you did it. And you did pretty well in our World Championship, except playing a little better.
We try hard. We need to try harder. One thing, there was a situation where we really appreciate to have the system in the control room. So, can you tell us more about the situation as the head of safety of the festival?
Probably it's a similar situation which maybe happened to many of us. During one mid-sized festival in Bratislava, in the capital city of Slovakia, we had the criminal police came to the control room to inform us that one of the, I'm not sure how to say it in English, but one of the people which were home
Wanted person.
a wanted person, but it was like the home imprisoned or house imprisoned has left their house, and they have the GPS tracking system on their body. So, and he told us that the PTS stations triangulated him inside the festival, which was not very nice information for us. However, he asked us to help them. And this one and at that time we didn't have software and everything to start the facial recognition and to start to go through all these recordings and to also analyze all these live cameras on the field. So we had to just do it manually, like one operator started to go through live CCTVs and others started to go back to the recordings from the entry points and so on. Finally, we have found one or two persons very similar, but
So one of them was not the right one.
yeah, and we in that time we really talked about it that this would really fasten, maybe more fast that if we had the solution to just scan the image the police brought and so on and so on. However, when talking about these technology or improvements, Ville said he has two approaches or two opinions on this. I have also two opinions, but maybe a little bit different. First is that the more you are using the technology and all this automatization and everything, the more vulnerable are you to the, let's say, to the
Cyber attacks.
to the cyber attacks, to the hacks and everything. So this needs to be said that the improvement or the deploying of more and more technical stuff and all these things needs to be hand in hand, need to go hand in hand with the empowering and strengthening the cyber resilience and cybersecurity resilience, because this could went very well, and we are the witnesses of the events in Europe where these types of hacks are being actually done. So we need to be very careful about this. But let's be positive thinking. The big advantage in improving and in improving the technology, the digitalization, is that actually when you handle it right, you can eliminate the human errors or the errors of the human being when talking about the intelligent cameras, intelligent camera system, in camera analysis and everything. The rule of the CCTV operator is like when you are watching the screens for more than 30 minutes, your attention on and your focus and everything is dropping really quickly.
This is right.
So all these systems helps us to eliminate this, because actually the computers and the software is watching the perimeters, watching the behavior of people, watching the movement and the speed of the cars inside your even at your parking lot, and so on and so on. So this is a really big advantage.
You see automation of the system as the biggest trend coming nowadays.
Yes, and actually forwarding all the responsibility, or not all, but a lot of responsibility for analysis of data and of the movement of people, letting it to the computers, which actually are finally when we go to the money are cheaper for us, and actually they don't sleep and they don't need to leave the control room for the toilet and everything.
That's right. You've managed quite good at electrical with this. You have shifts in control room, many people taking care, so you still have fresh people working. What you do very well is that you have very complicated venue. I would say to make it a little bit more clear to people from the Netherlands or maybe Belgium or this part of Europe, Austria is a pretty mountain country, and you have a couple meters height elevation in the campsites and the festival heart. It's pretty tricky sometimes to have the systems working, but you did a pretty good job. So how you were able to make it all in Austria in these difficult conditions that you have wonderful Tesla system in-house developed, as I know. We have many of the technologies in-house developed, and also I don't know if I can tell your upcoming trends in development. Maybe I'll leave up to you to decide. But I know that you are doing something very nice these days. So how were you able to make it all happen in Austria in these difficult conditions?
Because we started in 2013, so we learned a lot about the location, and now we're used to it. We know the problems there, but I think we made the biggest step when we have worked also with experts, because they told us, hey, this is how you should do it, and that was our most experience. And you mentioned the cashless system. It's also 2015 invited by us, or sister company, and since then we got data, and with the data we have so much possibility to get better, to change things, to change infrastructure, to know also in different weather conditions what we have to change because of the consume of the people. And I think we want to work also with facial integration recognition.
This was my point.
Yeah, because for us as a promoter, it's also interesting not when they buy what. It's also interesting when they leave the concert, the mood. So are they happy? Are they angry or anything else? Because then you can make a better profile. Also, which artist is good? Because in the ideal case, after an artist, we can scan them and see, the artist is good, they were happy, or was a bad artist for the next year to set also a better lineup. And also at the entrance, of course, it's not. It's a better feedback when you all see you smiling and they enjoy the festival and have it in your mind for the next year.
This is another evolution of face recognition, actually. Being able to say, like, I'm just not seeing the face, and I don't know, 15 faces or 200 faces, but I know how they feel. And this is also what many companies, including us, try to bring. As we can probably conclude, this is the trend in the upcoming days. Great. And it leads us to the third point of our discussion. This is cross-functional communication channels that you might use. So once we have the information that I have people in the campsite that are currently not quite happy, how can I tell them, guys, what's going on? You can send the guys there, for example, but you need to do something. You need some channels to communicate with those guys.
Yeah, that's one of our biggest problems. We are not that bad in communication in our event control center, but the problem is how we can reach, in a case, all the visitors and also our staff. Of course, we have the radios, we have the Facebook, the festival app, and also some WhatsApp groups, but it's not secure that we reach every one of our visitors. So we are looking still for a good solution. Today I got from you an idea. So we want to, on the campsites, for example, we have nearly 35,000 campers on site to make there also a PA station so that we can reach them via audio. But that's one of our biggest for my opinion, our biggest challenge that we improve more communications and safer communications. But till now, we have not that solution right now.
I'm happy they are saying this because in case you would be interested to see how this might work, we brought one of our screens over here. We can show you how the technology works. Maybe it's part of Q&A session, and also how can you send the voice information to your campsite, for example. You have some screen there, so maybe as part of Q&A, if you're interested, we have a live demo for you here. But I'd like to keep on going with the communication channels that are used in Slovakia, and Martin has been using for some time now. So what's your way, how you deal with talking to the people, talking to the crowd? If something goes well or doesn't go well, what's your default channel?
Oh, this really depends on the type of event. When we are talking about the festival or the anti-government demonstration and so on. Of course, nowadays on the festivals, there are mostly young people or middle-aged people. Actually, everyone has a smartphone with Wi-Fi or with some data, and the many.
But we heard also at the yes group session that we attended 2 days ago that with smartphones there are always problems with batteries and always problems with data and overcrowded networks and so on. This is tricky, right?
Yeah. What I'm saying is that also because of this fact that in some cases and mostly in the emergency scenarios, when the weather is changing or when you are dealing with some kind of attack or anything on the event, some of these technologies are becoming very unreliable because of power, because of the signal, the internet connection and everything. So I need that we still are forced to have multiple layers or multiple different ways of communication to have backup and to have backup of backup and everything, and also due to the fact that that the focus and the attention of people is different. You cannot rely on sending them information only via some application, because some part of these people won't have mobile phones with them, won't watch it, and so on. So it's great to have a combination. And when we are talking about the most used ways of communication, how you said it is applications in mobile. It's Twitter, Facebook. Also on the events when we have opportunity to cooperate with your company, we have the digital signage screens from AMENA. So yeah, there needs to be a few different ways of how to approach these people with information, but still great. I don't say the best experience, but the great experience is still to have very well briefed stuff and very well updated stuff, which we also come to the question how we pass all these information to the hundreds or thousands of our staff in the field, and face-to-face personal communication is really still great advantage and great way how to pass the information, how to work with the crowd.
I have now one question to Michael, and then I'll jump with the same question to Ville, because I know about situation at the electric lab when you needed to spread the information through many channels, including your social media, including your app, including LED walls on the main stage, including our screens out there. So how do you align the content of the situation of the message so it sounds the same way and with the same feeling on all the channels that are used? Do you have any special person who is putting it all together?
Yes, we have. Our safety manager was working out 28 different scenarios. So in case of different weather conditions, personal behavior or something like that. This 28 different scenarios has also 28 different texts, and so we prepare them in advance for the different channels. And before the festival we choose a person who will have the responsibility when the scenario, for example, 10 is coming. He has to spread it in these few channels, and so we have the small structure on different people, and that's the reason why we're quite safe with the text, and it's everything. Every scenario means the same to the visitors.
Yeah, so it's a lot of preparation, and I still love. Well, Ville, how do you like your messages through the different channels so they sound and feel the same way?
Years and years it has been more and more cooperation with our communications team for the home festivals and events. So I think we all can agree that it has not been like that all the time. There was years when security was security and they had their guys and systems, and then there was the rest of the festival doing their job. And communication was quite separate part. But nowadays it's we work well together, and I think a big part of good and safe environment is that your inner communication is done well. That you have all the parts and pieces together there. You have your radio systems. You have your whatever chosen systems, WhatsApp if it works, or other medias. But that's well put together, and after that, it's a team. At least in our events, it's a team that has people from the safety and security side, and also professionals of other communication.
So, for example, if you think of some Live Nation concert, they have their own marketing people doing their job. How tight is the connection between you and their marketing people showing messages on social media? Do you have the power to send a message to them directly, and they will just post like, this is from the safety manager, I mean this on social media right now? So this the communication work this way.
I never tested it that way. I think I could have the passwords and I could have that system, but that's not something I want to do. We do work very closely, so when needed, we work side by side in the same office. Probably it's my command center then, but I think it's better that they keep their hands off my devices, and I'm not doing any social media stuff without asking them.
I see. I have one photo from Lahti, and we together experienced the situation. I would like to jump to the situation. This is the local gate at Lahti. It was a wonderful event in snowy Finland. And this was the situation, and Ville was safety manager of the situation. I think you are the right man to describe it right now. So just make a little bit more space so people can see the photo.
Actually, yeah, this is it's not that easy to figure out what's going on there, but there is a ski jump event about to start, and it's a big bowl that fits like 30,000 people in it to watch the ski jump, and there was some structural problems, or not problems, that what's the word? Bad design, and we found it out a bit too late when there was people rushing in areas where yes they could see well, but maybe got too dense and too crowded in some places, and then we were happy to have these screens in use in that area, and the solution was quite easy because that was the only way to communicate with the people. We did have loudspeakers and security there, but not enough.
Yeah, exactly. It was not just screens out there. The wonderful thing was that you were able to coordinate the people around it and also make a human barrier afterwards. So it was like communication, different channels. So it was like screens plus the highly trained staff at the same time. And this is also the point when we were talking about like how to align all those channels to have the highest impact.
And then one more thing that that wasn't news for us, but we had a DJ for this event, and he wasn't Finnish person, which is not a bad thing, of course, but we had a little communication or language barrier with him, and when we wanted him to make some kind of safety announcement, the problem was that he couldn't get away from his role as a DJ, and still there was music playing loud, and he was doing funny jokes and stuff like that, and it was very difficult to make him understand that your message is not going anywhere. You want to give a safety message, then you turn out the volume of the sound and you must speak differently. That was a little bit a challenging moment for us, and also the learning point, because I have been personally met all the DJs that are in charge of that kind of situations to make them understand it beforehand anything happens, that how to act in a situation like that.
Thank you. I have also one more question, one more photo I would like to describe for Electrical Festival. It's one. This is, by the way, the one scenery of Austrian Alps around. All green fields. Yeah, this is the photo, and I think Michael is the right person to speak about what happened here.
Yeah, it was the case of Timmy Trumpet. I think it was on a Saturday. So Timmy Trumpet was at the main stage. We had placed there for about 25 to 30,000 people, and there were 3 bridges to the main stage. And this year, or last year in that case, we have the first time overhead signs, because the last years we have always seen that when we have to close a bridge and to put the securities there with just the signs in the hand that it's closed, it's not enough, because the people just go and don't care about it. But the signs above and the securities underwear, they was a really good effect that the people understood, hey, this bridge is closed, go to the next one, then we close the second one, go to the third one. And so we made a one-way direction. It was really easy, and it was really cool to see on the screens that it works. And yeah, that's maybe what you want to say, that the combination of the different channels has to be, and not just one channel is the god. All the channels have to work together. And this was a really good case.
Yeah, so sometimes there are situations where we can't do much, and just having extra features or extra opportunity to have bigger impact. And it doesn't necessarily need to be screens, it could be something else, it could be having thermal camera like with Martin we experienced. Maybe you can also briefly tell us what happened, how we use thermal cameras on uprising. It was a very interesting use case that we had the power to see what's going on the beach side when the beach was closed.
Actually, one of the reasons we were called with our mobile control solution to the mentioned festival in Slovakia was that it actually was not a high-risk event regarding the crowd behavior or anything. It was a high-risk event because of the location. It was located on the near the big lake in Bratislava. It's like a big lake, near or the set of big lakes in Bratislava. So there are huge water areas, and the 2 years before there were 2 tragedies. Two young people have drowned because of.
It's important to say it was not even on the festival. It was 2 days before the festival. It was on the festival side, but media made it really bad for the festival.
Yeah, exactly. And then since then everybody started to ask promoter how they are going to deal with it and everything. And we were invited to set a line of cameras to overwatch the beach and the border between the land and the water. And we we experienced a big advantage of using the thermal camera because it was totally different way of monitoring this because we experience in the total dark it's quite hard to use the infralight when it's reflecting from the water and then you are trying to cameras with the laser lights and so on. But the thermal was really the best one because one small camera can you don't need to, in case of monitoring the water or the big areas, you don't need to see the faces of people and so on. You just need to see the movement or the presence of some unwanted object.
Basically, monitor the area.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we can speak a little bit about the comparison because we do come from three different cultures, backgrounds, legislation, and law backgrounds. And for each of us, it's a little bit different, but we all also work on some international basis. So, Ville, how's the situation with regard to law and the regulations for the event safety and security in Finland? And is it binding for you, or is it just a guideline? As we spoke, it's like in the UK.
In Finland, I'm pretty happy to say that it has been changed lately quite a lot and in a good way. So we have got rid already of the old ones made in 50s maybe or 60s. We used to go with those old legislation for a long time, but now it's really good at the moment. And it's not that much like guidelines. It's the acts and laws that we need to go, and there is quite a lot of them in Finland. Of course, the new technology is a thing because it goes forward so fast. It's a little bit challenging because, as I earlier said about facial recognition systems, we sometimes hit the wall because we just or nobody knows if it's possible to use it or not. And it used to be the same thing with drones. Can we use it? How we can use it? Who can use it? Can somebody say not to use them? That was a few years ago. It was very difficult to know and tell. And but nowadays there is at least EU regulations are quite good for that.
Do you use drones for safety reasons, by the way?
Yeah, we do. We've been using them for 3-4 years already.
It's quite a lot of time already. And you just say that legislation started now to think about drones, so legislation is lagging behind the real experience. Is this correct?
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes it is. And then what we need to do is just try to use common sense and of course have discussion with the local authorities and try to find common understanding how and what can be done. But always there is no yes or no answers, then we just need to probably take a risk that something we do is not right.
Thank you. I'm curious to hear how is the situation in Austria.
It's not that bad, but of course it's always could be better. For example, Austria is not that big country. We have 9 different states, and each of these 9 states have its own regulations. So that's one of the bad things in Austria, because it would be better for the promoters to have just one regulation in the whole country. It's not that big.
Like in Switzerland, it's the same way, probably, right? It's also
to be honest, don't know exactly. But in Austria we have this problem or this kind of regulation. For example, in the case of calculate the evacuation time and the emergency exit, the wideness, we have in Salzburg normally the case for the first 450 people, we need 1 meter and 20 centimeter for the emergency exit, and for each person more 1 centimeter. But in cooperation with the authorities, we made a conclusion that we will take the European norm. It's I think 13,200 euro. It means that we have 82 persons per meter per minute. who have to the maximum who can exit.
Egress.
Egress, yeah. And in that case, we calculated that in 8 minutes we can clear the stages, and in 50 minutes we can also put them through all the exit routes. And that's why we can use the European Union reglement, not that from the Salzburg.
15 minutes and 50,000 people.
In case of, we have 3 different entrances, and in the case of Camping North, we need 15 minutes for 20,000 people to pass the exit.
Okay, for example, for the crowd signage, is there any word written in the regulations already?
No.
So you are not being needed to provide such a system, or to have, for example, some spend time when the message should be displayed out there?
Yeah, we message, of course, on the screens, but there is no regulation that we have to do it. It's all by our system.
You are setting your own standards.
Yes,
By design.
our own standards.
This is
It's
very
better.
Yeah, it is. Martin, I know situation in Slovakia, and I know it's not as good as you would like to have it. So, which regulations do you follow then when there is really nothing that you can touch in Slovak legislation with regard to event organization and safety and production wise?
It's very easy to describe how the legislation regarding the event or the safety of events in Slovakia is being written, because we have 2 sentences about the events or event safety, and they have been written in 1991. So
Sorry to stop you, but I'm now curious to hear what countries do we have here? Like Netherlands, okay. Germany, Germany. And anyone from Central and Eastern Europe? Oh, really? So. Poland. Poland. Yes, this. Poland. That's okay. Poland. How are you doing in Poland? Just maybe I would like to compare then Slovakia and Poland, because we are 4 countries and we are kind of similar region now. Is there anything that you can really touch in Poland, or do you have any legal regulations in Poland, or is it?
Yes, we have. Sorry.
Thank you.
Yes, sure. About this norm about exits, we have the same like the rest of Europe.
This is EU regulations, as far as I know. Are you obliged to provide, for example, some CCTVs, or are you obliged to provide some digital technology, or is there anything that tells you like once you have more than 25 people on your festival, you need to have your command and control center?
We use the crowns, and about we ask the command center is.
For example,
it's every event must have opinion from authorities, different, and we use the.
So you cooperate closely with the authorities to describe the procedures?
With police, with emergency hospitals.
Okay, thank you. So coming back to Slovakia then, also cooperation with authorities, I assume.
The sad thing is that you don't need to have a lot of to do a lot of paperwork when you want to put together an event or just a gathering of people, some demonstration or march or anything. Actually, you come to the like the city council or city office, and a lady which has been doing this work for 50 years just put a stamp on the paper and say okay, and because she doesn't have anything to go through or to
Easy job.
Yes, actually yes, easy job, but then it results in non-professionals or people with no skills and no experience to be organizing and putting together and inviting thousands of people to an event which actually doesn't have any regulation, any norms. You are according to the Slovak legislation, there is not described how many medical staff or paramedics or doctors you need to have on the event. So sometimes it results that you have, even though outdoor event 10 or 20,000 people with 2 medics or maybe with 1 ambulance or something like that. So and with the narrow entry points and narrow exit points and so on. So this is really disadvantage. And also difficult thing is that when we as people from the safety industry are trying to improve it or to change it, to tell the people that you need to have this and this is reasonable and so on. Many of them are looking on this through the prism of money and of the costs, and say, okay, but this would cost me more, and show me where in legislation am I forced to do it and so on. So this is really difficult, but fortunately when we are cooperating or we working for client who is really responsible and who is taking the safety on his even really seriously, we have fortunately plenty of good paperwork mainly from Britain.
You brought it all the way from UK with you.
Actually, I have been studying this in UK. Yes, so a lot of things. Basically, the purple guide, the event safety guide, which we can go through. We can show our clients. Let's see how the things are being done in other countries, and let's try, if not to fulfill this for 100%, let's try to approach it as much as possible. So this is how this is done in Slovakia.
Thank you. There's one wonderful idea. It's not my idea. Michael had it 2 days ago at the ES Group Health and Safety Seminar. I think it's worth to think about it. That it would be nice to maybe set some standards for festivals. Once they fulfill the standard, they're gonna have to have some certificate. For example, like this is safe festival because it has command and control with a certificate event manager or something like this. What do you think? I mean, did you invented this idea?
Yeah, because I think, for example, when you start a festival or start an event, it's always good to have something where you can take a look. Okay, these positions you should have, and when we have in Europe a standard, also for the visitors, that they know, okay, when this festival or this kind of event has this certificate, for example. I know which objects are forbidden. I know the house rules because they're all nearly the same. Or it's easier for the promoters and also for the visitors because it's a standard, and then you have not that much problems when, for example, the securities every weekend they're at a different event and they know not exactly what's on your event, the standard, and so also in case of safety, it's I think a better flow.
Yeah. What do you think, Ville? Could this be possible from your?
No.
Why?
Maybe I'm the old fox of this panel now, and I can tell you this is not a new idea. I've heard this like millions of times, and it's a nice idea, and this is something that has been talked about here in Groningen in YES seminars over 10 years. It comes up every few years, and we discuss about it. The problem is that in Europe we are so many countries. They all have their own legislation. They all have their own systems in licensing, and everybody understands and agrees that that is exactly what needs to be done and should be done. But the way is too long. It's not going to happen, and every time the discussion ends in the I think great idea of yes, setting standards, and yes, making the some kind of booklet of best practice in, for example, events related to Europe. I mean, Europe organization. And I think that would be the starting point. And to be honest, I think there is already like 1 or 2 or 3 of those manuscripts written, but it's so difficult to spread them. they haven't been able to do it in an organization with some tens of festivals. So how could it be done in European one? Just a question.
Good one. This leads us to Q&A. That's where I think we went through all the points we wanted to touch within this short discussion. So are there any questions? Not really? Well, then we can maybe show you a little bit of how our technology works. I'm happy to say that all of the guys over here use our technology. That's why we also have place and time to discuss these topics also throughout the year, just only here. So let me jump to our environment. And I hope to see you around. Also, there's 2 more days of Eurosonic, so enjoy yourself, have a wonderful time, and looking to see you soon.